Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's lecture of medicinal chemistry. Today, we are going to see stereochemistry and drug action as a part of physicochemical parameters. So, let us begin with the topic of stereochemistry and drug action. You are aware of what stereoisomers are. Stereoisomers are compounds that contain same number, same kind of atoms, same arrangement of bonds, but different three-dimensional structures. So they differ only in the three-dimensional arrangement of atoms in the space. Rest of the things are just the same. The stereoisomers are mainly divided into two types. First are geometric isomers. Geometric isomers are either doubly bonded compounds, they are open chain, or they can be singly bonded cyclic compounds. Okay, they exhibit different physicochemical properties so that their melting point can be different. Two geometric isomers have different melting points, different boiling points, different solubility, and so different chromatographic behavior. Okay, I repeat, geometric isomers can be open chain doubly bonded compounds, or they can be cyclic singly bonded compounds. You have or will study more about this in organic chemistry. So examples of geometric isomerism in the drug molecules. This is triprolidine. Okay, triprolidine contains a double bond, a carbon-carbon double bond. And you know there is a restricted rotation around this carbon-carbon double bond. So these two isomers, one is Z triprolidine, second is E triprolidine. So Z triprolidine is an inactive isomer, whereas E triprolidine is an active isomer. Now, why should that be so? Just try to understand that in all probability, this nitrogen and this nitrogen bind to the receptor. Now, the distance between the two nitrogens changes in the E and the Z isomer. So, the optimum distance between the two nitrogens is likely to be what exists in E isomer, not in the Z isomer, and so Z isomer is inactive. Same thing in case of diethylstilbestrol. Diethylstilbestrol binds to the estrogen receptor. The estrogen receptor binds estradiol. Now look at the structure of diethylstilbestrol and estradiol. There are two OH groups, and these two OH groups are attached to the ring system, which cannot rotate very easily. Similarly, diethylstilbestrol, the two OH groups are attached to ring systems or open chain systems which cannot rotate easily. And so the distance between two OH groups in trans diethylstilbestrol is same as that of estradiol. In case of cis diethylstilbestrol, the distance between two OH group changes, and therefore the receptor binding changes, and this results in cis diethylstilbestrol being inactive. So let us go to the next example. This is cisplatin, a famous anti-cancer drug. This is cis arrangement where both the CLs are on the same side. This is the trans arrangement where the two CLs are not adjacent to each other. The cisplatin is an active compound because through this chlorine and this chlorine, which is replaced by H2O, you will learn this subsequently, it binds to the DNA. Whereas transplatin cannot bind to the DNA in a similar manner, and therefore transplatin is inactive. Coming to optical isomers. Optical isomers are compounds which contain at least one chiral carbon. What is a chiral carbon? Chiral carbon, in simplest words, is the carbon which has 4 different groups or atoms attached to it. Because there are 4 different atoms, it exists in non-superimposable mirror image form. I think more about it you will do in organic chemistry. So try to combine the organic chemistry knowledge with the medicinal chemistry to understand this in a better way. So, optical isomers, although they are 2 different compounds, their physicochemical properties are same. What differs is their optical activity. Okay, they are not the same, but have physicochemical properties same. Optical activity differs. Now, chirality of the molecule becomes very important when the molecule is present in an asymmetric environment. What is an asymmetric environment? The proteins in the body contain lot of asymmetric carbons. If you recollect, proteins are made up of amino acids. And these amino acids, each one of them except glycine, contains an asymmetric carbon. So, the interaction of chiral molecule with chiral environment is very important for producing biological activity. The first indication that enantiomers or optical isomers display different activities came way back in 1886 when Putti reported that plus asparagine has a sweet taste and minus asparagine has a bland taste. So this was the first indication of differing biological activity. In 1933, Essen and Stedman reasoned that different biological activities of the enantiomers are due to selective reactivity of one enantiomer with its receptor. Now just see how they postulated that such interactions require a minimum of 3-point fit. Look at this. This is a chiral carbon. There are 4 different groups attached and 3 of them are interacting with the receptor in a perfect way. Now, you make a mirror image of it. To make a mirror image, this which is on the right goes to the left and this which is on the left goes to the right. Now, there is only 1-point contact. These 2 cannot fit into the receptors because the shape on the receptor does not correspond to these compounds. Okay. Now let us see examples of optical isomerism and biological activity. S plus naproxen exhibits activity as analgesic, antipyretic, and anti-inflammatory. This is S plus naproxen. Now, when the other isomer is considered, that is R minus naproxen, it is inactive. Okay, previously naproxen used to be administered as a racemic mixture of S and R compound, but now it is administered as S naproxen. You all can remember one thing, lot many times you will see the prefixes AR or ES. Okay, you will see the prefixes AR or ES. So AR corresponds to R configuration and ES corresponds to S configuration of the drug. Just try to recollect which names, generic names are starting with AR and which generic names are starting with ES. Another example is epinephrine minus epinephrine is 12 to 15 times more active as vasoconstrictor than plus the or the dextrorotatory epinephrine. Okay, the levorotatory epinephrine is more active than the dextrorotatory. This is again because the levorotatory epinephrine can bind better with the receptors and so it shows better activity. There is one drug called ibuprofen. You must have heard about it as Brufen. The trade name, one of the trade name is Brufen. Now, ibuprofen has this chiral carbon. Okay, chiral carbon meaning a carbon which has 4 different groups attached. So, this is the chiral carbon. This is the S configuration of ibuprofen, and this is the R configuration of ibuprofen. The S configuration is 100 times more active than the R configuration, but still, ibuprofen is never marketed in an optically pure form. This is because the inactive R conformation is converted in vivo or inside the body to the active S form. So whichever way you administer, a racemic mixture is cheaper. So you administer the racemic mixture and still everything will be converted to S. Before we end, let us talk about the famous thalidomide story. Okay, you know that in 1950s, thalidomide was invented and administered to pregnant women to take care of their morning sickness. Now, this caused a lot of problem in the sense that it turned out to be teratogenic. And the babies which were born to such mothers who took thalidomide were defective. Now, the reason invented later was that thalidomide existed as a racemic mixture of R and S. Look at this carbon. This carbon is the chiral carbon, 4 different groups attached to it. One is N, C double bond O, CH2, and fourth one is H. Okay, so this is a chiral carbon. The R enantiomer has sedative effects and it can take care of the morning sickness also, whereas the S isomer is teratogenic in nature. When it was realized that the R isomer has the biological activity and S isomer is teratogenic. Initially, there were efforts to separate them and use only pure R isomer, but it was never used therapeutically because of a major concern, and that is the bidirectional chiral inversion in the body. Okay, what is meant by bidirectional chiral inversion? If only R is administered, which is a safer isomer, this R is known to be a safer isomer. If only R isomer is administered, it converts to some extent to the teratogenic S isomer. And so there is always a caution. Scientists have invented various other therapeutic uses of thalidomide, but nobody ever dared, even in I think in some form of cancer, thalidomide is reported to be useful, but nobody ever dared to administer thalidomide. Okay, with this, we are ending today's lecture of the stereoisomerism and drug activity. The questions which can be asked on this include writing notes on geometric isomerism and drug action, as well as optical isomerism and drug action. While writing the answers, do not forget to include the structures of the drug molecules. So, with this, we are ending today's lecture and Thank you so much. If you like the lecture, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you get intimation of the further lectures which I will be recording. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank